Welcome once again to Clinical Theurgy, episode number 10. We rejoin the party on still a yet unnamed date. Details on a date, though, will be coming soon. Maybe y'all should invest in a calendar in-game. Force me to do this shit to you. When last we left off, everybody but Ghoulron had a bit of a shopping experience. Ghoulron, being the stubborn mulehead he is normally, felt like his time would be best served at the church, as has been his sort of go-to for the last few days. So, who wants to give John a recap on what happened last week?
Oh, pick me.
Go for it.
All right, so...
Yes, note taker. I have a question for you to see if you have it in your notes though later.
Okay.
Something I can't quite remember in my brain.
Memorize.
All right, so we went shopping with our new writs.
Mm-hmm.
And so Elizabeth, she's getting her weapon augmented. And she kind of visited this like
I took notes on their names, but my pad is gone. I wanted to remember these people names. Hold on.
I did not write down Elizabeth's person's name, but she was like very straightforward, no nonsense, like, oh yeah, I know what you need and all of this. And Elizabeth got
Leafeon.
obsidian on her sword.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I wanted mithril chain armor, and I visited an elf. I believe her name
Lorette
was
Gwendolyn.
Yeah. And
How about you have the names, but none of the notes to go along with them?
I mean, I have names of the people and brief notes about these people, but I really started doing that last session because I was like, I want to remember this dude I'm going to like get my weapon made, because we talked about how this would be like an ongoing process type thing. So I didn't want to like forget who I was like seeing for my weapon. So I took just notes on like basically like names of people and brief. Like I have like Costas, creepy blood dude. Or Costas, or whatever his name was. Literally, the notes on him is creepy blood dude.
Creepy blood dude. So, so Miss Gwendolyn, we spoke in Elven because I actually speak Elven and I like to relate to people in their own language. And so she agreed to make me the mithril chain armor, and she was going to put a little something extra on there, just like, you know, because she's cool like that. And she was like, it doesn't have to be mithril, you know, but as a bard, I like shiny things. And so I was like, I would like it to be mithril. So we had some pretty good shopping experiences. And then Antaeus, not so much. He was creepy blood dude.
Creepy blood dude.
Costas, and
I just remember naked, really long beard, sandals.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was pretty sketchy. Like, first of all, he went to the goblin, and the goblin's all like, yeah, I can hook you up. And he's the one that like took him over to Costas, and like he had his choice. He could either get this knife that would sacrifice other people, or he get one that he would basically be like cutting himself. And so he chose the self-sacrifice, the cutting himself knife. And it really stunk in there, and it was really
It's not
gross.
Great. I disagree.
Old rusty blood.
Yeah, lots of blood and junk. And so, and he got a potion to give for Elizabeth, and like, you know,
I got notes on that too in my character sheet. It is called the weird ass blood sap drug sample.
And so, and you know, basically he chose to use his writ in order to like be able to better monetize his alchemy stuff. And so after we all had our shopping experiences, then we met up for lunch. And Antaeus
blood sausage.
yeah. And the special of the day happened to be blood sausage, which oddly enough Antaeus was not interested in. And but he offered us drugs, and apparently there's one that is good for charisma, for like, you know.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I think when I was putting my kid to bed, or when I had to get up and do something, you like took one and did some sort of performance, didn't you?
Yes. So basically after we had lunch, then I went back to the inn and I was practicing my accordion, which was very, very rough. And the bartender was just like, yeah, I don't even think we got a name for the bartender yet, but
Nope.
to be named was like, when Antaeus came by to give me the drugs, was like, shut her up, you know. And so I was like, it's okay, I'll give a little bit extra in my performance to make up. Sorry, I didn't mean to, you know, cause such a ruckus. And so I popped one of those bad boys, and I have that written down too as to what it's called. It's on my character sheet. It is the Harlot Sweets. Very appropriately named. And so they're kind of like lozenges. I popped one of those, and I gave like the best performance of my life. And so far, I'm not addicted to them, but they do have addictive properties.
So far. I see that coming in your near future.
Well, I have to roll for addiction, okay?
Right. And I'm actually toning down a bit of the addiction rules you'll discover over time. I don't like the idea that somehow implicitly everything is like immediately addictive. It's not really the way addiction works in real life. You don't like take a hit of coke and you can never drop the coke. You can have experiences that make you more psychologically susceptible to doing it, but they won't have you won't be suffering from like immediate extreme withdrawal effects like the game sort of
lost my pen.
Implies.
Like Harlot Sweets, not even once. So that was pretty much where we ended. Is, you know, we just we did some shopping, took some drugs, you know. Hey, maybe the Harlot Sweets would help Goron with the sermons.
Okay, I got a question for you now. See if you have it in your notes. I was trying to recall in the episode before this, when we had our debriefing with our new boss, just all of the logistics he told us about when we enter the woods, right? So, yes. Okay, go get your water. Okay. So I remember he said that there was like rangers in the woods, and if one of them like finds us or like spots us or whatever, like we are to like immediately like basically turn around and leave because the rangers are like super deadly. But what I was trying to remember was all of the exacts with when we find Gulron, or not
Baru.
Baru, like everything we're like supposed to do. Like I was trying to recall, like we were supposed to like try to find him, gauge whether he seems like a harm to himself or others. Do you have any notes written down for like specifically what he said?
So he said that we should, if we find him, we're not to like engage him in combat. We are supposed to assess his mental state and try to get him to come back to the city. But we're not supposed to engage him in combat, and we're not supposed to go very deep into the forest either.
Yeah, and you're not going to. So, do you have any notes regarding like what we do if we feel he is like a harm to himself or others?
I don't, but I would. I mean, I would think we would need to like maybe go back and be like, hey, look, he is
okay.
Cuckoo
I was having problems because sometimes I think about game outside of game, and then I get like confused on whether like my thoughts outside of game actually happened in game or they were my thoughts outside of game. So I was trying to remember, like, did they tell us in game that like if we do assess he's a harm to himself or others to like forcibly bring him in? But I don't think we're supposed to forcibly bring him in. I think it was try to talk him into coming in if he's like of sound mind.
I was gonna say, I think that would mostly fall under the do not engage, the forcibly bringing him in. We need to probably at that point fall back and get knights or something.
Well, we have me.
We need more of you.
All right. Very good. Very good recap. So, Ghoul Run, how are those spreadsheets treating you?
Pretty good. They're all totaling up, but they're actually not.
Oh, my condolences. That's not what they should do. Unless it's something in the American financial sector having to do with mutual funds, at which point the numbers never have to add up, and that's okay. As long as it's within $1 million, you're fine.
Well, I don't think that's true.
That is actually true. My ex-wife worked in the mutual fund business and did a bunch of number auditing, and the numbers are always like, as long as it's within $1 million, we're fine.
Well, I mean, if their total thing is like $1 billion, maybe.
Yes, that is exactly what the principle was it's like hundreds of millions of dollars. So $1 million is like acceptable offages.
It's possible,
but you are up in the morning. Presumably, you would have you've had kind of a ritual going during your break of going to the church and helping out around the church as time has gone on. And I'd assume on this day you're probably going to take some time to head there and let where the fuck was his name? God damn it! What is wrong with my notes? Let the head priest of the church know that you're going to be gone in a couple of days.
Lauren McNeil.
Thank you. That's not in my notes. I'm going to make sure I put that in my notes. It's got to be in another column. So, while you are there, and while you are giving him that information, so, my boy, are you finding that you're going to be in some danger on this trip you're taking?
Most certainly. Wait, what was the name? Did they tell us the name of the woods we're going to, or would I know the name of them?
The woods are the southern forest. There's not really a title to them. That is just the forest to the south.
But it's common knowledge that these are dangerous place to be, right?
It's common knowledge that being outside of cities or towns can be rather dangerous if you don't have the proper equipment.
Okay, yeah, so I'd let him know, like, yes, we're heading to the southern forest. It would be quite dangerous, I assume.
I presume there's things you're looking for, then, that you'd wish to take with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't mean to sound forceful, but usually you when people do work in the ministry, they have these writs that they're given. And the church can make the most effective use of these writs if you were to get your goods that you need from the church. You can make it a donation, and we will apply for you. We will get for you the objects you need.
I don't see why I wouldn't do this.
Excellent. What are you thinking you might need? You look a bit shy in the armor, and a bit shy maybe. I don't know what you bring out there into the field with you. I've seen you, I think, once when you were first putting on they were leathers, right?
Yes, I was thinking something to make me more sturdy, like my ancestors. They wore metals instead of leathers.
Yes.
I hear.
Metals are much better for deflecting blows, especially if you are going to be up front. Are you going to be in the front?
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm not...
But you have that strong knight woman. Shouldn't you be maintaining the middle and keeping the rest of the team alive?
Yeah, but there are definitely times when there's a 10-foot corridor, let's say, and perhaps we want 5 foot each person to defend. So I may hold the line, as it were.
This sounds quite frightening. You must not be going out there in such minimalist things. You at least have a good sturdy shield.
It's okay, but I was hoping to get something a little more sturdy.
Okay is not sufficient. Not at all sufficient. I
Thank
believe I have just the thing. How much is your writ they've given you? Let me make sure that we can cover this well.
I believe it is worth 3,000 gold.
Oh, my goodness. You have quite a bit. I certainly believe then, in this case, we can do quite a bit for you. Hold on one moment while I look around and rearrange the cameras.
Who's watching us, Father? Tell me.
The gods are always watching.
And I forgot I'm not supposed to call you Father. But I feel like it's an appropriate name. You've been a father figure to me. Because I don't have parents, as you know.
I do know. It must be hard.
I mean, is it hard if you've never had something? You don't really know what you're missing, I guess.
I suppose that is fair. Having had parents, I feel like it would be hard. Well, 3,000 is a lot more than I was expecting you to say. I believe we could get you quite well outfitted for that, and then some.
How does this work? I have a piece of paper that says, I don't know if this is, do you get this from someone else, or how does this work for a donation for the church? Because the items that you provide me, I believe the ministry will take ownership over.
Yes. Well, we have a... How do I explain this? As the church, we are indirectly property of the Ministry of Magic. Not really property. Property is not the right word. The ministry oversees all of what we do. And so anything we give to you is indirectly something that would ultimately come back and forth to us. It's kind of a shared thing. If we are equipping you, this is why I can make out a little bit better of a deal for you, Gul'ran. We will sort of retain the items, but they will also have the items under your work position. But we understand that we are sort of handing them over with a sort of contingency clause that occurs. This has worked out as a very good exchange for us here in the church. Sushat has given many blessings to the ministry, and the ministry has easily tried to help out the church where it can.
Excellent. Sorry, out of character. Do I know the Ministry Magic? Is it run by like Ministry of Magic? Is this like wizards, or is it like shared clerics are in charge of it as well? Or
the Ministry of Magic? Well, first of all, you met the person who is the director of the ministry, and now that director has left. But the ministry has a composite group of spellcasters as well that work as kind of a council. They are the consulate. They basically, so the director kind of oversees investigations, research efforts, and the other stuff. And the consulate is responsible for determining whether or not there need to be either changes in the director's action, or determine whether or not they determine budgetary things as well, and they determine they are able to, with the director's insight, propose new legislative changes to legal policy.
When you say like spellcasters, you mean a mix of clerics?
Yeah, clerics,
okay.
Wizards, other sorts of either arcane or divine spellcasting classes sort of sit on this consulate. And they're basically like the sort of the business equivalent of a board of directors.
Okay.
And the director of the ministry is essentially the CEO or president within that company. Really, probably calling him a president is more effective because a president has actual directorial responsibilities, whereas a CEO is often a figurehead position that does have some directorial responsibilities, but still reports. But the CEO reports largely to still the president and the board of directors, whereas the president can make pretty quick changes without necessitating board approval, so long as they don't exceed the rules of the board.
Okay, yeah, my question was just, I mean, if it would be weird that this ministry has power over the church, but it sounds like it's a combination of people.
This is kind of a tit for tat thing. Part of the compromise in this country becoming so magically organized is that the church had to sort of adopt some level of legal control, or had to like forfeit some level of legal control, so the ministry can kind of like check in periodically and say like, okay, what are your sermons teaching? You know, are you in here teaching that, you know, all of your church members should use their spells to like wipe out the rest of humanity? Like, it's sort of a checks and balances system, because unlike in our world, the church here can actually have a fundamental impact and be utilizing spells to manipulate its population to do potentially terrible things. And so the ministry has to have some level of some level of influence or control in that controlling asset in that organization. Oversight. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much. So yeah, it's not uncommon. A lot of people disagree with that, especially people who are like clerics of a lot of clerics of Shishat will disagree with this pretty regularly. A lot of your chaotic type style religions tend to be like, this isn't fair, like, you know, we're not practicing any terrible stuff. Or in the case of Ryoshin, this isn't fair, we should be allowed to burn down everything whenever we want. But it is the system that has helped make sure that religion has been able to coexist well with arcane magic and the will of the people.
Morin, I was thinking for a new shield, if I could get it embroidered with the symbol of Shishat, so I could use it to project my holy spells through.
Oh, yes. We actually have a few items that, well, perhaps you'll be interested in. We keep a few of them. They're quite impressive things, and hopefully you will not befall the same fate as some of their prior owners. Well,
they're not cursed,
holders.
Are they?
No, we've made sure they're not cursed.
Okay.
It is just a thing sometimes that many people who wish to work for the ministry will get a little ahead of themselves and take on tasks that might be above them. I would urge you a warning. If you are going into those forests, don't tread too deep.
Yes, we are advised of such.
Now, if it's a shield you want, there's a couple of questions I have for you. Wood or steel?
Well, I really would like to focus on getting metal armor. So if I can get both metal objects, or if I have to choose, I'm not sure which are.
We will be able to easily take care of you with that, and a little something extra, just to keep you safe.
Well, I do know metals way more. Gul'dan kind of like, not flexes, but like, he like is checking his strength score. But I don't know what that means in game.
Well, the average person knows about what they can carry or lift, right? You know when like you encounter something that says like this is 50 pounds, whether this is going to be a struggle or whether this is going to be like something you can move reasonably easy.
Morin, if I obtain both metal pieces, I feel like they may weigh me down too much.
Yes.
One of the other items you were talking about, you wouldn't happen to have heard of this insane belt that can let you carry more. You don't happen to have one of those, do you?
You're not talking about the kind of belt that makes your arms larger, are you?
I don't believe so. It kind of gives you... You know how ants have the strength of 20 ants or something like that?
Oh, yes, the hauling belts. No.
Yes.
Unfortunately, though, there has been a bit of an excessive buyout recently in those. The market is really strapped for people that they want to move things. There's been a large... the cart industry is having some trouble right now. They started overreaching, and there's a bit of a backlash against people trying to move things locally. A lot of people are investing in those, and we've been kind of leveraged to the hilt on that. We might be able to pick you up something soon, but in the meantime, I think I can at least help you out, at least to some degree, on the need for lighter. Let's start from the beginning, though. There is one thing that anyone that is going to be a member of our clergy and heading out there should always have. Come with me.
I go with him.
He takes you to a back part of the church. It's kind of like a little warehouse for the church. And they have a few like stands that are propped up. And on them are these suits of breastplate. And on the suits of breastplate, there is emblazoned upon them the bow and book. And he walks over and he like picks one of them up, and you notice that like as he unfastens it, picks it up, it like seems to shape differently in size. Like it almost seems to shrink down a bit. And then he brings it over to you and he like, all right, arms out.
I do so.
He like starts to
old symbol for Sashot?
Huh?
Was that the old symbol for Sashot, or do they just do like the bow and book?
That's a good question. Figure it out.
Okay. I was just curious because it's not the symbol for Sashot that Ra has on.
I
hers,
know.
so.
He wraps the armor around you, and the armor kind of extends, and then he like closes it, and it clasps. Like the armor looked like it shouldn't fit you, but when he brought it over and put it on you, it fit perfectly.
Okay, so like it resized to me once it's on me or whatever.
Yes. This is good quality magical armor, and he knocks on it. And you can hear it like clang, but a little bit softly. This should be able to sustain quite a number of blows before you yourself get too terribly hurt. Just be careful, it is only protecting your chest. Don't put your face in the way of weapons.
That makes sense.
Now, the other thing, he walks around to one of these shelves, and he pulls down this big wooden, but very dark wooden shield with these big leather straps on them. And he brings it over to you. You don't strike me as a tower shield, man, but I think this is about your size. And he walks over and he hands it to you. This should easily give you what protections you need from what lies outside the walls. Not outside the walls. Outside of the town. And this is a dark wood heavy shield.
Okay.
Darkwood weighs, if I remember right, I think it weighs the same amount as a wood shield. But let me pull this up real quick.
So it's the same weight as my current shield?
Yes, but it is as strong as iron. Oh no, it is half. It is half the weight.
Half the weight.
Yep.
So mine right now weighs 10 pounds, so I should change it to 5.
Yep. And it is magical. So they are both +1. Both the armor and the shield are +1.
Okay. So this is dark wood. So when you say +1, is it just +1 to the AC is giving me before, or what's the total AC?
It is +1 to the AC, like it would normally be, like if it was enchanted, +1. So you have +1 breastplate, so it is breastplate's armor class, which I believe is 5, +1 is 6. And then you have shield AC, which for a large shield, which is 2, plus the 1 from the magic, which is 3.
Shouldn't the breastplate also probably have a -1 to the armor class penalty?
The armor check penalty, that is correct. Whatever the armor check penalty is for.
Is breastplate's medium armor, right?
Breastplate is medium armor.
So breastplate +1, so it gives me a total of 7 AC.
Is breastplate 6? I thought breastplate was 5.
I dragged it in from the compendium and it put 6 in there.
Let me double check this.
says AC 6.
Yeah, okay, it is 6. It's 6-4. Or 6 6-2. Sorry. No, it's 6-3. 6-3
Yeah.
4. 6-3 negative 4.
Yeah, so -3 from the +1 and +7, or total of 7 AC.
Yeah, total of 7 AC.
Okay. And sorry, the shield is the same. It's going to be heavy wooden shield is 2, so this is a 3
Yes.
from the +1.
Yep.
Okay. And a -1 on my check as well, right?
Yes.
Sweet. Get rid of my old armor. Would he just take that, or?
He'll let you keep the old armor. He's not as concerned with that.
I mean, I'll like donate it or something because like I can't carry it, obviously.
Yeah. And lastly, but not leastly, we need to make sure you're not going to be a lost asset. And he walks over and he grabs a holy symbol off of the wall, and brings it over to you. The holy symbol is carved out of bone. And he like hands it off to you. This should give you additional protection.
What is it?
An amulet.
Made of bone? This seems kind of...
They have been anointed. After sacrifices, we take some of what the sacrifices are, and we convert bits and pieces of them to amulets or other trinkets that might be specifically necessary to create certain objects. For example, this will give you skin that is tougher. As if you had a bone carapace.
When I look at that amulet, what is it carved into? Sorry, I don't know if you described that.
It is a bone amulet with that same like symbol of the bow and book.
So someone carved out of bone the symbol of Shashat?
Yes.
Is this like a weird thing? Like, would this be like?
Not necessarily. There's lots of reagents you need to make specific magical items. And so somebody like might have like manufactured using bone the specific components necessary to put this together. And then using magic, you can much easier fuse objects together. So it doesn't actually seem unnatural. It seems like you've seen other people do stuff like this with other little trinkets that they sell. You can get lots of things made out of bone, lots of things made out of all kinds of materials.
All right, I've never seen an amulet made out of bone and think it's a nice amulet, but if you're saying it's been anointed and Shashat has given her blessing on it, I don't see why I wouldn't want to use it.
I can understand your confusion, my boy, but let me assure you that with things like this, we don't always make the rules for how these things work. We just have to follow them. Magic is a very strange thing at times, even having been around it for this long. But I assure you, this will do quite well for you.
All right, I'll don the necklace or amulet.
All right. You also have a +1 to natural armor.
Awesome. I'm just calling it Bone Necklace of Shashat.
Okay.
And sorry, you said 1 + 1?
+1 to natural armor.
Okay. To natural armor. Awesome. And what for weight? Just negligible?
Negligible.
Or...
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like you've prepared me very well for this journey. Is there anything else I should know?
You should know that with every journey of this quality, there is great risk. Running does not equate to failure. Sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do is escape. No hero is ever truly a hero if they die foolishly. But every hero can become a greater one if they're able to fight another day.
That makes sense. I don't plan on standing my ground and dying if it's a lost cause. It's better to regroup.
Very good. Well, be careful out there. I want to see you back here. You're a great asset to us in many ways.
Thank you. I will do my best to return with a successful mission. In terms of miscellaneous supplies, I think my friends have made it clear we will need some sort of restraining items. Is there something the church can help with?
I take that back after talking to Jess.
Perhaps. What I would suggest, though, is your knight friend should have something that will be given to her once they are aware of the quest. Many of the knights that go off on significant enough quests will be given a set of very powerful manacles. A set of manacles that is exceptionally hard to pick or break.
Well, that's good to know. Then I guess we're set.
I do hope so. And I would warn you, be careful about how you use those manacles.
Why is that?
They are every bit as difficult to get out of as one might think.
Well, we'll try not to use them if we don't have to then.
Good.
And yeah, I'll thank him for the help and time and find my party.
Okay. So you will, you'll have a little bit of trouble tracking them down. But eventually, towards the end of the day, you can kind of meet up with them at their various homes. But you don't really have a good method of communicating with everybody. And there's no, like, exact slated meetup point. Whoa, this actually worked this time. So, yeah, you can... I think you only really know of where Brianna lives, though. I don't think you've ever... You know where Elizabeth or Antaeus lives.
Well, I assumed we had come to some sort of, like, when we're ready to go, we will meet here or something.
Okay. Well, you're not leaving for a couple of days, so...
Oh, okay.
There is a little bit of time in between.
If that's the case, then if I don't have any reason to go see them, I would just consult my clerical spells to prepare which spells to get ready for the journey.
Okay. So the next, we'll kind of cut to the next day. Is there anything specific that anybody wanted to do on the next day? There's one encounter that we need to have on that day. And I would need to know if Elizabeth plans on bringing anyone to that encounter.
I don't think so.
Okay. So the rest of you, is there anything specific that you want to do on the second day before leaving?
I want to track Maha down and serenade them with my accordion. No, I don't have anything specific.
Neither do I.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Washing that blood stank off of you some more.
That should be washed off me sufficiently, but I'll make sure to take a shower daily.
Just permeating out of your pores. Shower, but it doesn't go away.
Let's take a very short break, and then when we come back, we'll see how the dinner party goes.
Spoiler alert.